What's going on, guys? Listen, Club Napier here, and today my guest, you guys got to know about this guy, Chris Woolsey. He is the man, the myth behind Chicken Soup of the Soul, Crackle, Redbox. He's doing it all. He's the voice, the face. He's the man of communications, and he's with us here today to talk about everything that they got going on and more. What's going on, Chris? How you doing, man?
Dude, Klep, thank you so much for having me. I am beyond excited about being here. So cool.
I'm happy you're here too, man. I want to talk about. Let's talk a little bit about what it is that you do. It says here that you are the senior director of communications for Chicken Soup of the Soul Entertainment, the voice and the face of Redbox and Crackle. Explain to me what it is that means.
So, part of my job is to go around and talk to experts and influencers like you about the streaming world, specifically about Chicken Soup for the Soul Entertainment, which covers Crackle, free streaming, Redbox free streaming, and then Chicken Soup for the Soul free streaming as well. So any of the titles that land in one of those three free streaming services is kind of my domain. So I go around and I do a ton of interviews every month because we get new content every single month and sometimes every single week. And because of that, we need to update people's audiences about what it is that's cool and hot and what they want to make sure they don't miss on one of those services. So that's kind of where the face comes in. Unfortunately, I have a face for radio, but we do what we can with what the Lord has given us. And but for the voice, I also do most of the commercials that are on Crackle. We do a lot of branded content, so we do a lot of partnerships with big brands where they'll sponsor either an entire series or maybe a channel on the platform, sort of a collection of titles around a specific season or genre. And we'll have commercials for those brands that help us pay the bills and keep the lights on and keep the services free. And I do the voiceovers for those commercials.
Awesome. Wow. So you're like the one-man band, and they just tell you, get out there, make it happen.
A little bit. They're like, dance, monkey, dance.
So I want to talk a little bit. You mentioned, the streaming world, which is a very, very big world these days. There are so many different opportunities. You can go left, you can go right, up, down, doesn't matter. Talk to us about what makes Crackle, Chicken Soup for the Soul, what makes these things different? Like, why should they go there?
Great question. A number of things. One is it's free, as we talked about. So, when the whole cord cutting movement started, everybody was super excited and they're like, I'm never going to have to pay for entertainment ever again. I just canceled cable. And then they're like, wait a minute, what do I watch now? There's only on the internet, there's only so much stuff. So, we started subscribing to the Netflixes, the Amazon Primes, the Hulus. And, before you know it, and as you know, there's a new subscription service every month practically. And before you know it, you're paying almost as much, and in some cases more than you are paying for a cable package, depending on how much you were spending. So one of the things that sets us apart is it's absolutely free for Crackle streaming, Redbox streaming, and Chicken Soup for the Soul streaming. On Redbox, there are other pay tiers where you might be able to have access to a movie that is either just out of the theaters or in some cases still in the theaters, and you have to pay extra for things like that. But, by and large, the lion's share of the titles on those three services are always free, which is awesome. But one of the other things that sets us apart from the herd, besides the fact that our programming team is amazing and they scour the media landscape, finding the best titles. Sometimes you go to the free services and you kind of look through and you're like, okay, now I know why it's free, because there's not a lot on here that's worth paying for. But with Crackle and Redbox and Chicken Soup for the Soul, that is totally not the case. We have a deal with the BBC where you can see tons of BBC content. We're the exclusive home of the series Sherlock, one of the greatest, most award-winning series of the last decade. And if you didn't buy the DVD set, you can only watch it on Crackle. So we have all kinds of great exclusive series that you can only see on Crackle. And then we also create our own content. We create Crackle originals that you can also only watch on Crackle. And we have tons. If you go on to Crackle and you click on either movies or TV and then click on Crackle originals, you can see all the movies and TV series that we created and that you can only see there. And they're star-studded series like Snatch, that was based on the Guy Ritchie film. Just tons. Go on there, take a look around. There's tons of really cool stuff. Startup, which for a long time you could only see that on Crackle. We then started a relationship with Netflix with that series, and it shot to the very top of the Netflix popularity chain. So we've got amazing stuff on Crackle.
That's interesting. So you guys are, even though you're doing your own thing and you have a different type of platform, you're still partnering with the major or more commercialized streaming services like Netflix?
In some very limited fashion. And it just sort of depends, because actually Chicken Soup for the Soul Entertainment, our umbrella company, operates like a studio. So we have distribution arms, we have acquisition arms, production facilities, you name it, just like any other studio. We have all of those different arms to the business. And so occasionally it will make sense for us to take one or two of our shows and license those out to other distribution platforms.
Now the great thing that I like about this platform, Crackle in particular, is that there's so much different stuff. You got a lot of older stuff, classic stuff, 80s, 90s. It's a whole cluster of things that are just great and iconic. How do you all choose what projects or material you want to put on the platform? Like, is it just at random, or are you just strategic? It's about licensing. How do you figure that out?
Yeah, that's a great question. And there's actually a lot of different facets to the decision-making process. Sometimes it is what is available. Personally, there's a few shows that I'm like, why don't we have like WKRP in Cincinnati? I'm like, why is this not on Crackle? It's like the greatest show ever made. Well, there's all these like bananas licensing issues with the music that was on the show. And because of that, it's really almost impossible, at least at the moment, to have that show on there. But that being said, a lot of times it's, people in the office that are like, you know what show I want you to go dig up? This one. Do you remember this show? Go find it. And they will, and they'll actually go and like take recommendations and check shows out. And like I said earlier, our programming team is amazing, and they scour the landscape and they find these hidden gems. Remember the show Square Pegs from the 80s? Yeah. We got Square Pegs because they found it. They dug it up. They were like, oh my gosh, why is this not on? And so, yeah, there's just great examples like that. They're very passionate about classic TV. And so they'll go and find things like Grady, the sequel to, or the spinoff of Sanford and Son. Like, no one remembers Grady. And
I didn't even know it existed until I went on Crackle, and because I grew up on Sanford and Son. That's how I got my middle name, Lamont.
Right? Who went on to become a pastor. He was amazing. I love that guy. And like, there's just tons. We have Fish, which was the spinoff from Barney Miller. Again, no one remembers Fish. Our programming team remembered. They're amazing. So
there's one that I'm gonna throw at you right now. You need it because I can't find it anywhere. Not even YouTube. Small Wonder.
Oh, with Peeping Harriet. Come on,
I need Small Wonder because it's nowhere in the world.
Don't dare me, because I will sing you the theme song.
Sing me the theme song and have the team added immediately.
Yeah, that was a great classic 80s show for sure.
Yeah, there's a lot of great ones in there. So let's talk about the new, as far as what's coming to the platform. You've got different genres dropping coming up this month. Like, it's so much. It's so much content. It's such exciting content. So what
It
do you
is.
have dropping in July from Crackle to Redbox?
So much stuff. It's this July is going to be bananas. I am super excited. So I love pop culture. I love pulpy stuff. I love sci-fi. I love fantasy, thrillers, and we've got it. We've kind of got it all in July. It's a little crazy. So the one that I'm most excited about, because I loved it when I saw it in the theaters, and I haven't seen it since, and I'm ordinarily too cheap to pay for things, is Mad Max Fury Road.
I saw that on the list. I did see
Yeah.
that on the list.
So excited. So excited. Charlize Theron, I mean, for my money, this is one of her greatest performances. I thought it was just spectacular. Obviously, Tom Hardy is great in everything he does. And this one was just, it was a phenomenal film of, next to Thunderdome and the original. It's, I think it holds up really well. And that is a great one. So I'm super excited about that. I love post-apocalyptic movies. They're always really fun, and that one was outstanding. So that's great. Then we also have Shark Month. So people are going on their vacations. Everybody is going to be going to the seashore. They're going to be swimming, and we just we want these cautionary tales to be out there so that people know what they're going to be up against when they get into the water. So we have dozens of amazing shark-related titles. So we have Megalodon, which is fantastic, starring Michael Madsen from Reservoir Dogs, Carolyn Harris from FBI Most Wanted, and it's exactly what you think it is. It's a shark that's about the size of a building, and it eats scientists for breakfast. It's really good stuff. So there are a ton of those. Another great action flick that I don't know how I missed it when it was in the theaters, because it's actually really good, is Daughter of the Wolf, and that's starring Gina Carano.
Never heard of that one.
Richard Dreyfuss. So Richard Dreyfuss plays a villain in this one, which is a little bit different. I mean, he's done it a couple of times, but I honestly couldn't remember another film where he plays a villain. But Gina Carano, she kind of looks like a soccer mom, and Richard Dreyfuss's thugs kidnap her kid. Ends up she's ex-special forces, and mom goes on a killing spree to get her kid back. And it's exactly what you want. Cars get flipped, houses get blown up, bad guys get vaporized. It's awesome. So
there was one on the list that stuck out to me, and I got excited. Classic Navy SEALs.
Oh yes. I believe that's on Redbox this month, if I'm not mistaken. But that might be on Crackle. I forget. But that's great. Charlie Sheen and Michael Biehn, who's one of my favorite actors. I love that guy from Terminator. And it's just classic 80s. It's kind of military cheese. It's sort of its own subgenre. You've got you've got Saving Private Ryan's, where you're like, yeah, I feel like I'm in the fray, and then you've got Navy SEALs, where it's like, all right, this is a dairy related title. We've got some cheese going on here, but it's good. It's good cheese.
But it sounds like you guys have a lot. There's so much more, and you guys have so much content that's coming. Like, let's talk a little bit about the streaming industry and this, and how, what are the challenges in all of this? Like, because like I said, you have so much content and so much information to get to people. What are some of the challenges that you face in this and doing all of this and trying to get the word out there?
Yeah, I think that's really, you hit the nail on the head. Like, there's so much content. Like, I mean, every week, just in like casual conversations with people, I probably have 6 to 8 different suggestions on series I need to watch. And like, how it is when you're excited about something, you are adamant. Like, you have to go. Like right now, my wife and I are watching Beef, and we love it. It's so good. But like, I can't watch more than one series really at a time. Like, if I'm lucky, I can get, I've just got a busy life. I've got kids, I've got a job, I've got, friends. And so it's like, if I can watch 2 or 3 episodes of something a week, that was a good week. And so you really have to like discriminate. And so The difficulty is letting people know about what is worth their time and not worth their time. And so that's kind of where these conversations with heroes like you come into play, where I get to sit down and tell your audience, like, this is the 5 or 6 things that you do not want to miss this month. You really need to check this out. And so, yeah, discoverability and just, figuring out like what people, how we can kind of direct people to the content that's going to resonate with them the most. That's probably one of the bigger challenges for sure.
Yeah. So you mentioned a lot about original content, and you're in that space now. How far are you guys trying to take it? Are we talking just series? Are we talking docu-series? Are we talking reality? Are we talking feature film? Are we talking feature film that may hit theaters but go exclusively on Crackle? How far are you guys trying to take the original content concept?
Yes. To answer your question, yes. Yeah, all of the above. I mean, we have done, gosh, I mean, like a lot of the streaming services, there are things that we will put the original stamp on that has already been finished in production when we acquire it. So it was finished for whatever reason. It didn't get distribution elsewhere. We bid for it, and sometimes we win, sometimes we don't. And so some of those things are scripted series. Some of those things are docu-series. We did a lot of, year before last, we did a ton of sports docu-series. So we had like basketball, a bunch of basketball series that won awards. And we do standalone documentaries. We've got like true crime documentaries that are fantastic. I think the challenge with original content and sort of what all the streaming services are coming to understand is we need to figure out a model where production costs can be kept at a place where it's sustainable. And so, you look at like the money that some of the platforms are hemorrhaging in creating original content, and they're not getting that money back in terms of the number of subscriptions. And so in order to keep the industry and streaming in specific sustainable, we need to figure out a way that we can create good, thought-provoking content in a way that is not going to bankrupt anyone. And so that's another one of the challenges that the industry is trying to wrap its head around. And we've done a really good job. One of the ways that we do that is through branded content. So we'll partner with a brand who will come in and they'll pay some, or in some cases, most of the production costs. And then you'll see their brand either integrated into the series. A great example of that is we just dropped a couple weeks ago a series, actually last week, a series hosted by Genevieve Gorder, who's the designer from Trading Spaces. And it's called At Home with Genevieve. And it basically just shows her fans how to level up their life, whether it's food, fashion, fun, party throwing, home interior, you name it. And that was in a partnership with PetSmart. And so we had some PetSmart products that were integrated into the show. They covered a certain amount of the production costs, and that way we were able to keep our costs low and, again, keep everything free for the fans.
That makes a lot of sense. I don't know why a lot more of them don't do that. That's actually probably the smartest thing, and everybody's watching each other's hands on that. So before we get out of here, because I know we could sit here and talk about all the classic stuff, I want you to give me maybe your top 4 things that are on your streaming service right now that you could recommend for the fans to watch. They could be same type of film, different things. What are the 4 things that you think audiences need to know about right now?
Sure, absolutely. I appreciate that. So one of my favorites right now is on Redbox streaming, and it's called Ong Bak. And Tony Jaa. It's in my opinion, it's the greatest Muay Thai film of all time. I don't know if you agree, but I think it is.
It's up there.
He's so good to watch. It's like the first time you see him. It was like the first time you saw Jackie Chan, and you were like, "There's no way this guy's doing his own stunts," and yet that's exactly what what he and Tony Jaa are doing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love that one. That's on Redbox for free this month. Really, really great martial arts classic. Gosh, it's so hard now that I'm put on the spot. Like, man, what
I
do
mean, you
I
started strong. You started very strong.
Good. I'm glad to hear that. On Chicken Soup for the Soul, we've got some great stuff on there. One of my favorites, it's a series called In the Vault. And this is it's a murder mystery that takes place on a college campus.
Whoa, I love it already.
This is also on Chicken Soup for the Soul, but it's got a kind of a Scream, I Know What You Did Last Summer vibe, and it's about a murder that's a murderer that's happening in the dorm of this college. And so you've got all these students, they're all trapped in, kind of stuck in this dorm together, maybe not making the best life decisions as college students sometimes do. And there's a murder that takes place. Every week you learn about a new person in the storyline, and one week it looks like they're the hero, and then the next week, from a different perspective, it looks like maybe they're the killer.
Wow.
It's really good. It's called In the Vault. It's starring Audrey Whitby, who is actually, oddly enough, one of the leads from the Thundermans, the Disney Channel series, and has Sydney Sweeney, who from Euphoria, that everybody is so excited about right now. But it's a great, if you like that kind of I Know What You Did Last Summer kind of vibe.
Love it.
Yeah, it's super fun. Highly recommend that one. I also like what else am I super excited about right now? Oh, I would say Wedding Days, super fun. That is, hold on one second, let me just pull that up. Yeah,
Sounds
Wedding
like
Days.
Comedy? Sounds like a comedy.
Yes, it's Jason Biggs, who is from American Pie,
Yeah.
and Isla Fisher from Wedding Crashers, and Michael Weston from Garden State. And this guy, it starts out really dark. This guy proposes to his girlfriend who dies, and his best friend is trying to get him to date other women, but he's stuck in his head about his deceased fiance. And so just to get his buddy off his back, at a diner, he proposes to the waitress. And the waitress is like having the worst day in the history of bad days for waitresses. And all of a sudden this cute guy proposes to her, and she says yes. And she is not going to take no for an answer. It is hysterically funny. You got to check it out. Wedding Days. The performances are great. It was a fun little hidden comedy, but that's one that I'm super excited about, and that is on Chicken Soup for the Soul. This month. No, I'm sorry. That one's Redbox. That's Redbox.
Redbox. Okay. It sounds like you've given me an action, a horror, and a comedy. I need a drama now.
Okay. All right. Let's see. Let me take a look here and see what we have. I would say, yeah. There's a psychological thriller called Nix. And this is starring James Zimbardi from General Hospital. So you get a little cheese in there. And Anthony Ferrante from Sharknado, which you may or may not be a fan of. And Michael Pear from The Lincoln Lawyer. And this is it's a psychological thriller that's based on Germanic folklore. And it takes place in a cabin at a lake in the middle of the woods, which already off to a great start. Yeah. And it's about family secrets and recovering from tragedy. It's dark, it's gritty, and it's if you like psychological thrillers, Nix, Nix, it's a really interesting flick.
Wow, all of those sound. You got me on In the Vault. I'm definitely gonna check that out because I'm a huge Scream fan.
So we have 2 seasons on there's both seasons on Crackle. I can't remember if it's just I think it's just season 1 that's on Chicken Soup for the Soul right now. But if you head over to Crackle, you can definitely see both seasons. It's phenomenal. You're
Now,
gonna love it.
is this a continuing ongoing series, or is it ended at 2 seasons?
We'll have to see.
So there's a possibility. Now I'm all in.
There is a
Now I'm
possibility.
all in. Chris, I want to thank you for taking the time to talk with us and helping us understand a little bit more about Crackle, Redbox, and Chicken Soup for the Soul Entertainment. Let them know where they can find you, and let them know where they can log in and sign up for free.
For free. Absolutely. So if you go to any of your favorite app stores, you can download the app. You can watch them on your phone, your tablet, your laptop, desktop, connected TV, super easy. Or you can go to crackle.com, redbox.com, or chickensouptv.com, and you can cast to your TV or whatever device you want as well. I'm Chris Woolsey. On Twitter, I'm at IDGHAYZOOS. On Facebook, I'm Chris Woolsey. But yeah, hit me up. I'd love to answer any questions anybody has about the services. And I look forward to coming back next month and letting you know what we got coming.
Awesome. And they can also go to the Redbox vending machine still, right? They can do that too, right?
So we have over 32,000 kiosks. We have more kiosks than McDonald's and Starbucks put together. It's a little crazy, and we have plans for more, and they're doing really well. And you can go and rent Blu-rays, really the best viewing experience possible. You can get 4K experience. People talk like you can do that online, but I know from personal experience, my internet would take a dive to the floor the second I try to watch that. But you can go and rent a Blu-ray disc for just a couple of bucks, and you can get basically a theatrical experience in your own home with picture and sound quality that's through the roof. So yeah, definitely check it out.
How can we get one of those vending machines in our studio? We need one of those.
We have one in the office now. It's so cool.
Oh, yeah. So we need that. We need that kind of life.
Right.
So Chris, again, I want to thank you for taking the time to talk with us, guys. You know what it is. Content. Go get your content. Consume. There's plenty to see and plenty to watch with Redbox and Crackle and Chicken Soup for the Soul. Chris, again, it's been an honor.
Unbelievable pleasure. I cannot wait to do this again.
We'll see you soon, man. Thank you.
Look forward to it.